Hello and welcome to the Listening Post's unboxing channel on YouTube. Today it's with great pride that I'm unboxing SVS's brand new PB-1000, Ported Box 1000, although this is now their new Pro version, a trickle down of the feature and quality set seen in the much higher end versions. This amazing 12-13 inch subwoofer has front ports, it has a Bluetooth setup. It's an absolute gem. It features now SVS's sledge amplifier. It's delivering a peak of over 800 watts to control the most dynamic of music and movies. And it's such an affordable product. So it's wonderful that we're sharing it with you today. At a glimpse, you understand that what's in this box emulates the size of the subwoofer. It's not compact at all. By the time you've got a 12-13 inch drive unit on the front and 2 additional ports, plus the appropriate cabinet to keep all of that air movement under control, it's not going to be small. So these boxes are a bit intimidating. You'll see firstly, of course, a line drawing associated with it. And on one end only, scan information of model and serial number. On the other side again, an emulation. This particular one is most likely been opened here in New Zealand, and the international power cord swapped out for one appropriate to the New Zealand plug standard. So it's not unusual to see those sort of first factory seals to have been broken, but we will be opening this in exactly the condition you will see in your home. Because of its physical size, there's a couple of steps that you should be doing as far as getting this out of the box. The first is easy, and look, that's just nick at the packing tape and get the basics of it open. It's very straightforward to open clear packing tape sealed products without having to draw the knife across the whole surface, just by nicking it at one end and then pulling it, it will break. The box has, and again this is big, look at it, look at the size of that thing. The box has very well packed, and in here, and please hang around some photographs or have a look at some of our other videos where we drill into the accessories or the manuals that it has here. But all I'm going to do is grab the power cord out. It's a figure 8, 2-pin, and then do what's kind of sensible with anything of this size, and that's roll the box over and lift the empty lightweight box off the product itself. So you'll see in the base, just before I get rid of it, the grill. Just put that off to one side, and then the other half of the closed cell foam. Now we're looking at the bottom of the product, and before we roll it over, what we're going to do is just check whether it's sealed closed or not, and then discard the layer of closed cell foam. Then carefully roll the whole thing over onto its feet again. Then the bag, and away it goes. You'll see the closed cell foam that slid away is beautifully cut to envelop this subwoofer so that in transit it's going to protect it for all manner of abuse that carriers may give it. Just spin it around and concentrate just for a moment on the grill. The grill is separately packed in a plastic bag and held closed with a small bit of sellotape. The grill is one of those strengthened plastics with the classic bung and puck approach. The grill is completely transparent acoustically and is nice and stiff. Despite its being relatively light, you can see elaborate reinforcing to ensure that it's not going to twist or chatter. The SVS logo that's front and centre is protected with an additional piece of that sort of sticky stuff that you just kind of get rid of. Looking at the subwoofer, of course, you see what I implied as far as its physical size. The dual ports allow the woofer to breathe And most people's feedback as far as the difference between a sealed box and a ported box is exactly that breadth, that ability for it to engage in the sound. But the cost, of course, is a much larger cabinet. But if you can physically put this in a room, the additional investment of height and physics can be very rewarding. So the dual ports, the front, and above it the main SVS driver. This one, of course, is now manufactured by SVS and shares its logo. It's a very long excursion subwoofer, and it's bolted in place in multiple locations to ensure that there's no vibration, and it's securely fixed to a very deep front panel. Looking at the side, you reveal the depth that's involved in the actual product itself, and the curves associated with the cabinet design. The cabinet is curved to ensure that standing waves and other things like that inside, when this driver is moving and changing pressure inside the cabinet, doesn't create vibrations. And curves are kind of important as far as things go. They're far more expensive to produce than just a square edge, so that investment means stiffness and rigidity inside the cabinet gives the payoff to you as the customer. Looking at the back, it's actually where the magic kind of happens, and some of the most obvious upgrades have been made. Gone are the twist dials and things associated with the previous models, and now we have push buttons associated with its setup, volume change and other things like that. The inputs and outputs are the same between the SB-1000 and the PB. It features a figure 8 power and a rocker switch to turn it on and off. You've got some basic voltage information and warnings, and Bluetooth associated with its setup. And please, the whole function and beauty of these new Pro versions is the ability to sit in your living room or lounge room chair and set the amplifier up from the convenience of a wireless Bluetooth setup app. It means that from the sitting position you can adjust all mannerisms of characteristic of the subwoofer and know immediately that those changes are apparent. Because it's now a Bluetooth setup, the control and other things are based around push button control. You select what you want, like phase, volume for example, and it changes the blue dial to show what volume and other things are involved. You can change phase and it moves left to right, volume obviously left to right, and other features can be done at the push button and then up and down. It's emulating exactly the features you can do from the Bluetooth. Unlike most in its class, this subwoofer features both high-level or speaker input and low-level line inputs. The speaker level and line level combination means that you can use it in any number of different combinations. Take the speaker output from an amplifier, pass it, use it as a drop tap I guess, and pass a signal to it for an amplifier that doesn't have either a spare line output or the ability to ensure that it's keeping timing exactly with the speakers itself. Above those speaker level inputs we have a trigger. Now that's 3 to 12 volts with the ability for this amplifier, once connected via a 3.5mm mono cable, to turn on and off as the device you are turning on and off turns on and off as well. The end result is a direct and finite control. Rather than relying on its auto or standby features, the unit will power up immediately as soon as you turn on your AV receiver and turn off when you turn it off, forcing it to avoid the environmental situations where a quiet patch then bursts to life and the subwoofer turns on later. There is both line level stereo input and output above that trigger, and one clearly delineated for the LFE, or the mono sub out, from the home theatre amplifier. Should you use the pair of inputs, it gives you the ability to also output it for the purposes of linking this to a processing preamp or a stereo preamp or something along those lines. Above the main inputs there is a 5V USB for the purposes of powering things like the wireless adapter from SVS. Okay, so there we have it. SVS's brand new PB-1000. It's 12-inch, 300 to 800-ish watts. It'll get down in and around, if not below, that 20 Hz mark, which is that gold standard amongst any subwoofer, and it's amazingly easy to get the most out of via its Bluetooth setup. So there we have it. SVS's PB-1000 ported box. The new Pro versions unboxed here. at the Listening Post in Christchurch, New Zealand.
Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, subscribe to our channel.